not really, but okay. That's a way to start things off. Hi, welcome to the beach. John here, you there, and this is where we'll be this week. So here's to hoping that everyone can see what's going on, and so we'll see what's going on with all of you guys. This is the week traditionally where the boss and I come down here and we get to come and hang out. And so we are fighting. How do we phrase? We're fighting the weather. And, so please uh, let me know on all of the various and sundry social media platforms that exist where the signal strength is with this bad boy. So, yeah. Yes. Yeah, Ricky, nicely done. We are going to discuss that and the context of that particular deal, where it is, what it means, all the moving parts. We'll get into that coming up in a bit. The Emmanuel Latte La, and I'm sure that there's a Starbucks joke in there somewhere. The Odson Edward, Latte La, everything else going in and around. So this week might be weird just in the sense of signal strength. So it won't be quite as weird as it is when I'm at the boss's house, the boss's, hometown house. Not that bad. So we've got devices fired up and everything. And so hopefully with the 40 cubits of wood that I think we're going to need outside the house because of what's currently going on, we'll see what happens. So this week, this week we're here. And the rundown pretty much is the same. Abe Gordon from 92.9 The Game dropping by in just a little bit. We'll get his thoughts on Ronnie Dyla. So they were supposed to this morning be live from the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. But because of Mother Nature and what happened last week, everything slid. So they're back to their normal indoors. They're not outdoors or anything like that. And so Abe will join us for his normal time slot coming out of the blocks. And we'll discuss what he thinks about Ronnie Dyla and everything else going on involving Atlanta United and everything else attached therein. So we'll get into what Abe thinks about Atlanta United. We'll get into what you guys think about the deal. We'll go into the context specifically of the Latte La deal and break down all of the different players and all the different things and what to anticipate, what to expect, where to expect it from, all of that stuff. And then if Jarrett can join us really in the next couple of days, we'll get his rundown of Ansar Enward. Specifically, we'll get the deep dive from him from his time at Celtic. I can give you what I have very cursory from his time at Crystal Palace, but we'll get into that as well. Like I said, all the moving and shaking, all the moving parts, all the players. It looks like Vancouver is on the verge of possibly getting a new head coach. That came out very late last night. So all of these moving parts here in the pastels and everything going on here at St. George Island. 3 miles that way is the coast. For those of you that are with me here for the first time, that is 3 miles that way is the coast of Florida. This is a turtle preserve, basically. And from May through, I want to say October, if you have a house that is up against the Gulf of Mexico, they ask that you close your blinds and turn your lights off at dark. So turtles don't come up and nest prematurely and that kind of a thing. But right now, this time of year, it's pretty quiet. Yep, Gulf Coast. It is the yearly trip to Apalachicola / East Point / St. George Island. So the boss and I had our 12th anniversary yesterday. So this is where we traditionally come, and this is where we had our honeymoon, and so we come here every year. And so this is the week every year that we come here. And so that's where we are. Okay, so here is opening kickoff. brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Let's see. Uh, let's see. So, of course, and so, all right. Naturally, first time that things are happening here at the beach, things are happening on the beach. Thank you, Harry. 12 is like linen and silk and for uh you know you know guys and things like that. So the boss got me a card that had linen and silk in it. She also got me a shirt, and I went a little deeper in the deep dive and got her some pearls. So that's where we are with the anniversary gifts. And also, the big news for opening kickoff, kind of a deal. I don't know if you got the chance to see this morning, but Jessica Charman is leaving Charlotte FC as one of their radio voices, and saw it came out a couple of different places. Carol Walton and her articles that she pieces together for the Charlotte Ledger had a bit of a piece with Jess. Jess posted it on social media this morning, but Jess is leaving Charlotte FC after 3 seasons, and she is going to spend her time focusing on the play-by-play opportunities that she had last season. So here's as it was written by Carol, and she got the chance to catch up with Jess a little bit. So Jess is leaving, informed the club last week she's resigning to pursue opportunities in TV play-by-play. In her new role, she's going to broadcast NWSL, USL Super League, USL Championship. And so all of those opportunities that she had last year, she's going to focus on that. Quote, one of my main goals is to continue as a voice in both men's and women's soccer because I think to be an advocate for female voices and just good voices in sport, I have to keep my foot in both doors. I think women's sport is incredible, and being a part of the women's sports community is something I feel like I haven't had the opportunity to do enough in my career. So I'm super excited, but I also don't want to lose my minority voice in men's sport. And so, once again, and it goes back through her career, paired with Willie P to broadcast all 102 matches, worked all 113 games where they've had a radio broadcast, including 4 playoff games. One of the first full-time female radio broadcasters in league soccer. And so, quoting Jess, as much as I believe in radio with all my heart, television is obviously a natural progression. There's going to be more opportunities to grow in TV. Part of what's really hard about this decision is the fact that I'm going to miss those personal connections and that exclusiveness as a voice of a club that you get by calling every single game. And so, that's the biggest thing with Jess. And so, Jess is in her exclusive interview with Carol Walton. She's leaving Charlotte FC's radio, and she's going to be focusing on the TV side of things. All right, 9:14. And so what that means is that I'm going to punch the clock a little early. Well, maybe 30 seconds or so. I don't know. But properly hydrated as always and adjusting to life as it is with us here with Restream and our new platforms and everything. Abe Gordon, ladies and gentlemen. So, Abe, busting out the USA jersey this morning. Attaboy, look at you.
Yeah, Nike had a sale a couple months back, so I bought a couple pieces at severe discounts, and popped one on today. Why not?
Nothing wrong with the severe discount. Man right here is the king of the severe discount. So I'm right there with you. So welcome to 2025, my friend. How was the time away from us?
It was pretty good. Obviously, I spent some time on a cruise, a vacation that was very fun, and then just been taking in the new year, making sure we're staying healthy and happy, and really also just counting down the clock. I mean, I know I was talking with you over the weekend, and due to the weather that we just had here in Atlanta, United did delay some of the things necessary to start their media portions of practice. They couldn't do all the physicals, essentially, is what happened, and so We were hoping to be at United for their first training session that got delayed, but like it is crazy that it's here. I mean, we knew it was a short off season when it started. We're like, man, it's like 7 weeks away.
Uh-huh.
And they had a lot to do, and they still have a lot to do, right? I mean, they hired a new technical director. They hired a new manager. They put a couple pieces in place. They've made a move here or there, more so on the fringe, but there's obviously some rumors heating up that could be more central to this team. And so very excited to see. And we're counting down, right? As much as we're counting down from everything else, we're what, 12 days from the
Uh-huh.
opening preseason match against Chattanooga, and the preseason gets fast and furious from there. You essentially are playing 5 matches or some sort of competitive environments there in essentially 30 days. So really looking forward to covering that, and then getting the season going, man. Like it's pretty much here. So very excited.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, oh, 7 weeks. What are we going to talk about for 7 weeks? Trust me, there's plenty to talk about in 7 weeks. And 7 weeks turns into like 5.5, and you're just, you're off and running, and it's halfway there already. So we haven't had the chance to catch up. What have you thought about the pickups of Chris Henderson and Ronnie Dyla in the front office and being head coach?
Yeah, I mean, by all accounts, I'm excited, and everyone has kind of generally said you should be excited about this. I mean, it's a formula that has worked before with Lagerwey and Henderson, and they're also coming into a situation where you have a pretty good team right now compiled. You have a pretty good amount of money to go, and you also have flexibility in your roster with what you want to do and openings and designated player and stuff like that. So it's not like you're bringing in guys to rebuild. You already have a really strong base, but now you do have an opportunity to make your stamp and to add to that. And I think that's probably very exciting from the Henderson side of things. And then with Ronnie Dyla, I mean, just very excited to see what he's able to do to take, again, the talent that's already here, the talent that Henderson's going to add, hopefully in the next week or two, because you want to deal with all the issues and visas and make sure he's getting with the team and all that stuff that always frustrates fans when we have a guy, but we don't really have that guy for 3 more months, whatever. Just very excited to see it in action. Again, you didn't win last year, right? I mean, ultimately you did get eliminated, but there were some really good things that you did at the end of the season. And now it's just time to try and build on that, not take steps back as you rebuild, but continue to move forward. I'm excited to see if they can do that.
And obviously, as a part of the show this morning, we are going to discuss the names that are being floated out there that kind of hit pretty hard on the weekend. And once again, Atlanta United not afraid to sit there and say, "Oh, 18 to 20 million, sure, all right, we'll cut that check." So it's the pursuit is not the issue. It is the desires of the agents and the player and the teams that are on the inbound that are always going to be a part of the discussion. And I think that that's something that we always have to remember here is that, you can chase after all the guys in the world, but the desire's got to be there. The agent's got to sit there and look out for what's best for his client. All of these different little machinations that we have to kind of keep an eye on. That's always going to be a part of the discussion.
Well, and I think the other thing you have to understand is the status of the league as a whole. And I think you're seeing, and not just Atlanta United, but in recent years, you've seen teams, top tier teams in the MLS, but even middle or bottom tier teams going after guys that they quite frankly would have never had an opportunity to try and attract in previous years. And I think you've seen the shift of, and look, there was a time where like those were the guys who were on their last legs, kind of being retired, and they wanted to wrap up in the U.S. And to an extent, Lionel Messi is still that, but also at the top of his game at the same time somehow. Not really sure how that happens. My athletic prime was years ago, and I never recovered. He somehow has kept his prime. But
right there with you, brother.
I do think related to that is you're seeing an opportunity to get a different style and level of player in terms of drawing from Europe or even from Africa and South America than maybe you would have. And you're able to find a couple of guys that you at least feel are a little bit more proven. And that excites me. When I look at like some of the numbers of the guys that they're talking about, be it from Asia, be it from Europe, whatever. And you go back and look at like we were excited for Yakimakis, and like he wasn't in like a top tier necessarily league, but here was his games played and here was his goals scored. And you look at the guys that they're chasing, and it's very similar, if not better, in terms of goals per matches. So and it's also like very apparent the type of guy they're trying to bring in. Like they're looking for goal scorers, and there's no more secret about what are they going to do with their DP spots. Could they find a defender? Like, no, man. Like they're doing what we all want them to do, which is find someone to score goals. And so excited for the possibilities of the names that are being chattered about. But again, like you said, sometimes we see names get hot and then it just kind of goes cold. That's already happened once this offseason for United. And so we'll see if the names that are hot right now, the names that are trending, if you will, ultimately make their way here to the 404.
Yeah, and there's always the Starbucks joke that has happened with Emmanuel Latela and his time with Middlesbrough currently, and Odsonne Edouard. Those are the two names that are out there, and obviously we'll get into more about those two as we go this morning. But you're chasing after players that are in the EFL Championship. You're chasing after players that have Premier League experience. I mean, shoot. The team up the road that claims itself to be Atlanta United's number one rival from absolute jump decided that they wanted to chase after Miguel Almiron. So no league is safe from Major League Soccer anymore, Abe Gordon. This is how this is. It's like, you want to dance? Let's dance. Look, with Major League Soccer, the checks will not bounce. That is the biggest thing. You want a player, we'll cut you a check. Everything's going to be fine. Direct deposit's going to work for the player. Direct deposit's going to work for the agent. And the league check will not bounce. One less thing that folks have to worry about these days.
Yeah, and look, like I don't want to sound like elitist or anything. I'm not trying to put down other countries, but like I think living in America is a pretty cool thing. And you look at some of the countries people are from, some of the countries people are currently playing in, and like there's also now a draw towards playing in America, and there's just something fun about that. And the league, I mean, it's kind of crazy. And John, you've been, I mean, where the league was at the very start, and to see like there were dreams and there were hopes of like what this league could eventually become. And look, this isn't the end of the road for the MLS. They haven't reached their ultimate goals yet. But to see what the league was in the conversations that they've entered now in terms of across the world, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. And just the level of respect that this league has gained from players, from fans, and then from the business makers is pretty impressive. So, look, there's a reason that these names are being bandied about. These are legitimate targets and legitimate names, and quite frankly, legitimate players. You look at some of the numbers on these guys, it is really impressive. And so I'm excited to see what they're going to do. But it's nice to know that despite some of the seasons Atlanta United has had, and I think we can all be fair, it's been disappointing since they won the title. They're still working. They're still among the highest spenders in MLS. They still are attracting some of the biggest names in MLS. They're still viewed from outside America as the team in MLS. And I think that is really important to have put them in this situation where they can go after some of the names that they're chasing down right now.
So when it comes to players that have carried over year to year, from last year's Atlanta United to this year's Atlanta United, who's in the Abe Gordon spot shadow? Who are you looking forward to seeing the most when it comes to player development, hitting the next stage, whatever that entails, in air quotes? And yes, I did just use air quotes on a Monday as we're getting ready for training camp. Who are you looking forward to seeing in the development stage hit those next strides when it comes to being a part of this roster?
Well, it kind of parlays itself two ways, because you've got the players that maybe took some steps last year, or maybe even if they underachieved last year and you think there's more to them, what can they do in their second year or in another year or whatever. But there's also the aspect of Ronnie Dyla and the impact that he's going to have. It maybe if they're asked to do something differently, or if he's asking them to play differently. And quite frankly, I'm not going to pretend to know how he's going to use or what the expectations are for certain players in a new system. So I'm going to speak on the pure basis of the question, what we saw last year, what I'm looking forward to coming up this year. And I think I'll just go from the back forward. I think you start with Pedro Amador. I think what you got from him, especially in the postseason run, but even before that, and that just happened to be like a link of games where things worked out. Even before that, right, you could tell like something was going on differently for him. I don't know if it was communication with the guys up ahead of him or whatever it was, but it just, to me, even with some of the left backs Atlanta United has had, it still felt like the attack had to come from the right side with Brooks Lennon. I think with Pedro now adding on the left side, especially considering the issues you had up top on the left side, I'm excited to see maybe a full year's worth of can he continue. And look, he's not going to have an assist every single game. I think we have to
come on.
openly. I know it's tough to hear. But I mean, look, maybe if Atlanta United is the highest scoring offense in the MLS, which quite frankly was some of the expectations to open last year, and that quickly died down. But I think Pedro is the first name you look at. I think you move to the next level, and it continues to be Jay Fortune. Just how good is this kid going to be? And obviously, he didn't play a ton in the first half of the season, a couple U.S. Open, whatever. But he by a variety of different factors, he finds himself in the regular rotation. But it was up to him to cement himself there, right? Like he was given the opportunity to prove it, and he did prove it. And now the next question is, as we've had this question with a number of guys that have been young and kind of upstarts and the quote next guy at this position or the next guy at that position for the U.S. national team, for Atlanta United, for youth squad, whatever it may be, it's now up to him to build off of what seems like a cemented role for him. And again, Ronnie Dyla could come in, feel differently, and he may have to fight again. I think everyone's going to have to fight for their roles. That's just how it works with new coaches. But at this point, you do maybe expect him to be a little higher in that consideration. So based on what he saw last year, like that wasn't his apex, right? Like he's still trending upwards. He's still climbing that mountain to reach his peak. And so certainly him. And then the other thing for me, again, not knowing who is being brought in up top, but Saba, it just so much of it was on him last year. The idea that he might have some help up there. What sort of a player does he become? How different does he look when he's got help? Maybe when he doesn't feel the need to be the primary goal scorer, we can help set guys up. Hopefully the goal scoring numbers don't come down for Saba, but you'd like to see maybe the assist numbers go up a little bit, and maybe just a slightly different type of player for him. And then again, just you try and figure out who the playmakers are and who's going to be in the middle. And so just looking forward to that. But again, it's all going to be about Dyla and how he wants to set things up, who they pull in to work up top. So very interested in that too. But yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned Saba, and it will be interesting to see how Saba is when he is a guy and not the guy. And I think that there's nothing wrong with being a guy, but I think that Saba at times looked like he shouldered the burden internally, maybe just a little too much. And, here's a guy who is going to lay it all out there for you. I mean, he's going to run the 98 miles and not think twice about it. He's going to, on a Monday, I apologize, he's going to run his ass off. And there goes the explicit rating already, 15 minutes into a new week, 25 minutes into a new week. But yeah, he's going to run his ass off. He's going to give you everything. And now, to your point, you're anticipating Saba getting help. And I think that in whatever form that is, at the 9, Miranchuk wherever he fits into the midfield. If it does, do they move Miranchuk to the left? These kinds of factors. You now have that opportunity for Saba to still be the dude, to be a dude and not be the dude, and that's never a bad thing.
Yeah, and I want to pick up on Miranchuk too, because it was such a tough ask for him to come in midseason, and we're all like, "This is the guy, that's replacing Almada." It didn't really feel comfortable for him. It didn't really feel natural for him. And you'd see moments where he'd kind of settle in and look like a lot more in the flow, and then other moments where it was kind of disconnected. And I'm interested to see if he can get a little more connected on both sides, the offense and the defense, and kind of figure that out, because that would also be a huge benefit to Atlanta United is if the guy that they brought in to be one of the playmakers can do a little bit more of that. And look, again, it's tough to just grade him on what last year was. I think you do need to give him a little bit more time to develop within the system. And now you have to give everyone a little bit of time, because you're probably looking at a slightly new system. And that's what happened. I mean, look, we're not gonna tear the tent down if they get off to a little bit of a slow start. You got to understand, as we learned last year, it's not how you start to an extent; it's how you finish. But you have to give a little bit of leeway with the new stuff. But again, you have a good enough team here that you would hope that that there's some stuff you can do. And again, I think that's probably why you scheduled as many either competitive environments, matches, whatever you want to say, there in the preseason. What do we say? 5 or 6 of these things in 30 days before you really kick the season off, something like that. So I think they're trying to get up and running pretty quickly. But I think if Miranchuk can get a little more comfortable and a little bit more calm in what he's being asked to do, that's going to help Saba. That's going to help the other midfielders. It's certainly going to help whoever they pull in striker. So there's a lot of options for this team to move forward and improve. Like as good as they finished, there were still things you could look at and say, well, Miranchuk could have done better. If he's better next year, the team will be better. You didn't have the striking. And so there's as pleased with we were towards the finish, even though ultimately it ended, there's still some steps forward this team can take pretty immediately. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, because you're looking at games against Chattanooga FC, Birmingham Legion, the 2 matches at IMG Academy, and then wrapping up with FC Dallas.
Yeah.
I think it's a week before the kickoff of the regular season on February 15th. And so, yeah, in the next 32 days, so 30 days has September, April, June, and November. And all the rest have 31. So 33 days. So 33 days, you got 5 matches to get you ready for the 2025 season. Before I let you go, in the Eastern Conference, outside of Messi and friends, and you can include Messi and friends if you want, who else are you looking forward to seeing the most in 2025?
Boy, in general, the Eastern Conference is not like my biggest, like, it's just so much more fun, I think, to watch the West, even though they're late at night. Like, I don't like, I get the Columbus thing, I get the Cincinnati thing, but like, I don't know, boring. Like just boring. Like whatever. I'm interested to see some of the teams that were previously powers, and if they can get back there. I'm interested in Philly and Nashville and what they have left. What sort of step back was this past year? Because Philly for a while was running 3rd or 4th in the league. They just completely fell apart. And Nashville obviously has been among the contenders for a long time, and they've taken their major steps back as well. So I'm interested to see if some of those bottom teams from last year can jump back up to the top. And certainly I feel like Atlanta United is in that possibility as well.
All right. So what are the plans for 92.9 The Game off the top of your head to head up to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground, weather permitting and physicals permitting? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I do know we are going to be broadcasting the Chattanooga game, and quite frankly, I haven't even looked at the schedule beyond that. But you will be able to hear the Chattanooga exhibition or preseason, whatever you want to call it, on 92.9. So certainly looking forward to Mike and Jason getting back in the booth and hearing the sweet sounds of Atlanta United soccer back on the airwaves.
So, and do you get to go up and party for the morning show at any point? Do you know off the top of your head?
I
You
don't
guys had
think so. I'm not sure. Broadcast restrictions. I don't know if we're actually doing pre and post on that one, but we'll definitely have the broadcast of the game. So
Oh no, I
we'll
was
see.
just talking like going up to practice and going to hang out and go like
Um,
doing remote.
it's possible. Last week, obviously, the plan was going to be today,
Yeah.
and then it got delayed, and it's probably going to be a little bit tough to reschedule. Obviously, we've got. I know it's a different type of football, but there
Eh,
is a national championship game coming into town
and,
in a couple of days, and
yeah.
so we've got some coverage of that'll be on site. So
I I I
try
don't know
not
what
to be drawn too thin. I think.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. That game where
Hey, those are
it's
two good soccer schools.
yes, they are. As a matter of
Hey,
fact.
let's be honest. These are two very good soccer schools.
Yep, it is ACC and B1G heading to Mercedes-Benz to play American football coming up in a week's time. My friend, it's great to see you. Glad to have you on this side of 2025. Great to have you back for your weekly Monday visits when time and scheduling allow. And hey, look, I'm right there with you when it comes to the super discount shopping. Look, if it's 70% off and I can get it a year or two behind, I'm right there with you, my friend. I'm the absolute same kind of shopper that you are.
If you ever see me buying something at a full price anywhere outside of a restaurant, just know that I've been replaced with some sort of clone. Okay,
There you
that's your tell. That's your tell.
absolutely. No doubt about it. It's great to see you, my friend. We'll catch up soon. Stay hydrated, and congratulations on working backward in the Peachtree Road Racer today.
Yeah, thanks. Had a good one. Appreciate it.
All right, be good. There goes Abe, and it's always good to see Abe. It's always great to have him be a part of everything, to kick off our week, to break everything down, and let everybody know what's going on when it comes to Abe's universe and everything going on there at 92.9 The Game. So, that's the fun part of the week where we get to always kick it off. And so I feel like we're in almost like a normal rhythm with Abe now. Abe kicks off the week. The week in itself is off to its normal rhythms, and we get to discuss things. All right, obviously, we'll catch up on the conversations involving ATLUTD and Odson Edward. We'll get into that coming up here as we go. But now that we are on the flip side of everything, time to say hi to everybody and let everybody know what's going on. And so, woo, okay, so the boss is in a boss is in a bit of a pickle. So hang on just a second. Hang on. Hmm. All right. So, all right. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna keep an eye on that. The boss is supposed to be flying back for a family commitment today, and because of the travel issues that now are impacting the Gulf, she's supposed to. All right. So all right. Here we go. This might be more opening kickoffy material in addition to the news involving Jess. All right. So the boss was supposed to fly out from here. Well, technically Tallahassee. So the boss got up at the crack of dawn this morning, and so she got up at the crack of dawn this morning, and she's supposed to catch a flight in an hour. And then she is supposed to fly from Tallahassee to Atlanta for a family commitment. Family in the sense of not necessarily blood, but close friends. And then she was to fly back tomorrow from Atlanta back here to Tallahassee, and then take the hour and a half and drive back to here on the Gulf and stare at the water. So right now, she is in the Tallahassee airport. She's in the Tallahassee airport. And I don't know what the weather is like for those of you in Georgia and up north, northeast of where I currently am and where the boss currently is in the Tallahassee. The boss is currently at TLH. So she's supposed to catch a flight in an hour, 50 minutes. Supposed to be a little hop flight. You go up north, you hop in, you go to Hartsfield, you go, you drift, you go, and you come back. So that's the idea. She just got word that and this is weird. So and this is dealing with family issues in real time. So I'm letting you know what's going on with the boss. So the flight initially, according to the app, to the airline that she is attached to, says that she's supposed to be 20 minutes late. Leaving TLH to go to Atlanta 20 minutes late. So now she gets word that the flight isn't leaving for 3 hours. 4 hours from now, 3 hours down the line. That's a little different than 20 minutes. The app says 20 minutes. The airline says 3 hours. So that's where we are currently in the gap space involving travel in the southeastern United States. That's currently where the boss is right now. So the app said 20 minutes late, so she would have been leaving about 11. The airline and the airport at TLH is now saying 1:30 to leave. Sorry, 1:30, get to Atlanta at 2:50 for the commitment that she has. That is a huge disparagement. That's a word. That is a huge gap in information. Yeah, it's 20 minutes late. No, it's 4 hours. That's technically 3, but still. That's massive. That's freaking massive. That's a bit of a difference when it comes to travel plans. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, I didn't know if you've seen these kinds of gaps when it comes to your travel plans, where the app says 20 minutes and then the airline itself at the airport that you're in says, no, it's 3 hours. Just checking. Okay. Anyway, I had to get that out. I had to get that out of my system. So there you go. That's where the boss is. The boss is stuck at TLH right now, trying to get home to Atlanta for a family thing. So anyway, all right. So that's kind of more opening kickoff. And since we're in opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Go to Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Buy the store out. But when you do buy the store out and you kick off your day with our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com, what you can, in fact, do is buy the store out at a 15% discount. Use the code SoccerDownHere15 on your way out the door. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. I know that you are, for those of you who are with the video version this morning, you're looking at me wearing the old retro. We've got newer gear at soccerdownhere.net. Also, what we have through our association with Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co. is Soccer's Just Better in Atlanta. You can get that gear. You can get it in red. You can get it in black. It's a really cool sweatshirt. It's got the SDH notification. It's got the SDH logo on the left sleeve, Grady Baby Co. on the right sleeve. What you do when you help out with our collaboration at Grady Baby is you get to help out middle school soccer programs that are attached to the Atlanta public school system. So that's Grady Baby Co. The Soccer's Just Better in Atlanta sweatshirts and T-shirts. You can get their stuff. Also, Olive in York. At Olive in York, what you can also do is you can get the first ever SDH jersey. Thanks to our friends at Kaiser Permanente, Scott Flood and the Flood Project. You can pick up that particular jersey. It is navy, since I bought one and picked it up and saw that it is, in fact, navy. And the idea of dark navy, to me, it's a dark navy. But apparently that's redundant. Apparently dark navy is redundant. So it's navy, and you have the choice of either white letters and numerals for personalization or light blue. So therefore, it's navy, and it's not dark navy. It's just navy. So that's at Olive in York. And that also helps out our programs, the Soccer for Good and Beyond Goals for 2025. And also, you can help out our friends at the Marshall Islands. I'm sending out yet another scarf when I get back to Atlanta to Terre Haute, Indiana, as a matter of fact. So you can help out the Marshall Islands and help them build their soccer program by picking up the souvenir scarf if you haven't. And when you do, you go through the store. But since the scarves are here domestically, you can help out. And I send you the scarf from Office HD, and you get to help out the Marshall Islands that way, with the proceeds going to help out the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. Okay. All right. So, all right, that catches us up with everybody, I think, with all the things. All right, and so there you go. All right, so let's say hi to everybody. Morning, Ricky. Morning, Tom. Morning, Alex. Yeah, can we get kickoff coffee to throw in to get this latte latte deal done? Morning, Alex. Morning, Abby. It is kitchen redo day for Abby. Morning, Harry. I am in the white room, and I would do a birds yard. Was it Yardbirds or just the birds reference? The Eric Clapton song. But yeah, they renovated the house that we stay in, and we didn't realize this. We came in, they renovated the front steps. They painted the inside. It's no longer the pastels that it was when we were here last year, and a lot of the years previous. So it's very, very white on the inside. They've repainted. It's not pastel-y like I thought it was going to be, but it is very, 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 very white interiors. So it's not quite pastels like it has been in the past. So let's see. Abby says that the guys should get in an afternoon practice, should be getting up to 50, and the sun's melted most of the backyard ice. So yes. So morning, Tom. We got to talk about Everton at some point today. Thank you, Harry, on the congratulations. Morning, Will. With the coaching staff, she's got to purchase a Scottish flag. Let's see. Morning, KFC. Yes, and Jess definitely will be busy. Morning, Katie Weaver. Happy 2025. Welcome back in. Sun's out all over the place. No official confirmations, but what I wanted to do when we do get into discuss what's going on involving Latte Lath and Edward is that I wanted to give context specifically to Latte Lath. There was a great article that came out in Middlesbrough this morning, their time. So when we were sleeping, there was a really good analysis and a breakdown of Latte Lath and all the moving pieces, and so that'll be what we get into coming up in just a little bit. Katie Weaver, jury's still out very much on Midanchuk. Man could straight disappear in games. Hope he integrates with time and more talent. Remember, he didn't get a break. Basically, he came in, continued to hit the ground running. He got no rest. It was like Saba when Saba hit the ground running. It's like, your season continues. There was no break between seasons for you when you kept coming. Edward had an incident in 2017 that folks are talking about. Like I said, with Oddson Edward, like I said, this is when we get into the discussions about Oddson Edward specifically. His time at Celtic, Jarrett can address. I can look at his time involving Crystal Palace. I can get you that. I can let you know my thoughts specifically about Crystal Palace, and there isn't a whole lot of thoughts about Crystal Palace in general, but you can kind of see the context, and we'll go through the stats. Abby wants to know how much money was put in the can last year for the cussing. I think it was like $20. I think it was like $20. It might have been a little more than that. And so Tom agrees with Abe. Showed definite flashes in the brief time with the camp and better players around him. Optimistic. Yeah. So KFC don't know. I mean, and KFC and Abby and everybody's discussing what happened with the jersey. I don't know if there's anything. I don't know how accurate it is. So it's out there, and I'm not necessarily going to talk about it. Yeah, Abby, Barnacle Bills on North Monroe. Absolutely. For me, it was when I went to school in Tallahassee, it was Mike's Beer Barn, Governor Square Mall, Whataburger, 280 miles specifically from my dorm to my house specifically. So you drive 70 and it's 4 hours, 280 miles. Let's see. So it was Mike's Beer Barn, and you never tried to paint the SAE lion on campus because they had spotlights, and anybody that tried to paint the SAE lion, because it was a white lion statue in front of the SAE house, and if you tried to paint it with all the spotlights that were on it, you got into serious trouble. The SAE fraternity brethren, they came down upon you with the heat of 1,000 suns, and they came down upon you quickly. And so there you go. Yeah, 4 hours. That's what I told the boss, is that it was a 4-hour drive from Tallahassee, 280 miles. So 280 miles one way or the other. So Katie's like, I need to pause the broadcast and deal, throw on some Leave It to Beaver, and check on the wife. And we'll be back soon, and we'll discuss what's going on here and Sucker Down Here on the morning show after this episode of the Andy Griffith. So let's see. Yeah, 20 minutes, 3 hours. Derek's like, yeah, potato. You could hope that they could find another plane that would put that down. Yeah, big difference between a baseball game in the 70s and today. So Abby says it really is a midnight blue, meaning the SDH jersey. So cream, white room. Thank you. Yes. KLF. The KLF. Yes. David Moyes, you got to get into that. Scotland manager, you're getting gigs. Morning four-card. Well, four-card, what we're discussing is now specifically, you'd be surprised, Kefsey, how many folks, because there's the 3 Mile bridge that connects the mainland to here. There's an old bridge that was taken out of use. It was the old bridge that connected the mainland to SGI. You have a lot of folks who will park their vehicles either way, and then they'll walk down the remains of the old bridge, and then that's where they'll fish off of. So it's really interesting. There's a lot of folks that will be doing that. I, however, will not. And so, yes, there is always an old bridge. Okay, so let's get into Latte Lath, shall we? And Emmanuel Latte Lath, the numbers that have been floated around involving Emmanuel Latte Lath, 18 to 20. Sorry about that. Too slow on the draw. 18 to 20 million euro for Emmanuel Latte Lath. So here's the deal involving Emmanuel Latte Lath, as best we know. And this is from our friends at the Northern Echo. They did a really good deep dive into Emmanuel Latte Lath specifically. So Latte Lath had a bid tabled over the weekend. This we know. 18 million pounds, total package potentially up to 20 if you include add-ons. So once again, what that would do is, if that in fact would be the case, if Atlanta United was to agree to terms, or specifically, flip it the other way around. If Middlesbrough were to agree to terms with Atlanta United from our friends at the Northern Echo, what that would do is it would give Latte Lath a significant increase on his current wage at Middlesbrough. So that would be the upside to for Latte Lath's camp. So what we probably should do is come up with a piece of paper and draw it down the middle and go, Atlanta United on one side, Middlesbrough on the other side. So, all right. So Atlanta United for Emmanuel Latte Lath, increase in wages. So that would be on the Atlanta United side. Middlesbrough have acknowledged Atlanta United sending this bid of 18 million pounds, possibly 20. But according to the Northern Echo, Middlesbrough have yet to formally respond or enter into any kind of in-depth discussion with Atlanta United. So Atlanta United has said, hey, we're offering you this. So then in turn, And then somebody's rang the doorbell because they got to check the fire extinguisher, and that's not going to happen while I'm on the air. So, Rowdy, nothing like live TV. Rowdy, hey, Rowdy butt, you're okay. All right. So let's get back to nothing like a Monday. All right. So Atlanta United has said we've offered 18 to 20. Middlesbrough has not acknowledged publicly that Atlanta United has sent the 18 to 20. It would be an increase in wages for ATLUTD if it was in fact the case that 18 to 20 would be the deal. So ATLUTD has been linked to a number of clubs. And so that is where we are involving Major League Soccer. Major League Soccer, Atlanta United might be, according to the Northern Echo, the only club to have tabled an offer so far this month. Preliminary discussions with a number of different suitors. And this is where we take the line and we sit there and we draw it right down the middle of the page. So here's where we look at it. Here's where we look at it. Please hold. That didn't work. All right. So here's the here's what you're looking at. Ipswich, which is in dire need of scoring help. Ipswich is in dire need of scoring help. And so they have apparently offered 20 as well to Middlesbrough once add-ons were included, but this was back in August on deadline day. And so this is, yes, I am the spare, no doubt about it. So 20 million from Ipswich toward the end of deadline day back in August, only for it to be rejected by Middlesbrough. So we're already to that number. And so you're dealing with also the context of nothing like trying to summon an animal. So, all right. 20 million once add-ons were included, deadline day in August for Ipswich. Ipswich knew they needed more scoring. They still need more scoring. That is without question what they need. So they remain interested. Once again, not a surprise because they still need scoring. They're in a relegation fight. And that's something else that you have to take into account here. The relegation factor of Ipswich trying to make sure that they can find more goals and get the points that they need to make sure that they can stay up in the Premier League. So right now, as things stand, so here's the table right now. So Ipswich, once you X out of fine, accepting all of the cookies and everything. So here we go. Ipswich is a goal out of the relegation zone. Literally. They are, and here, no, if I did that, I'd probably violate a lot of rules. So Ipswich right now at 3-7-10, 16 points. They are one goal out of the relegation zone. They are one goal out of the relegation zone. So they get one win here or there, 1 point here or there, more than Wolves, and Everton right now is at 17 points. So they are at 17 points. And you're talking about Everton at 17, Wolves at 16, Ipswich in the relegation zone. Probably. And Emilio with the question, can we outspend Ipswich? But that's part of the whole dynamic here that we have to look at. Here's the deal. When it comes to outspending Premier League clubs. Premier League clubs, and this is in addition to the spend aspect of it, there's always the idea of trying to navigate spending within England in and of itself. It would be the desire of Ipswich matched with Middlesbrough dealing with somebody that is in the English pyramid. So you have that you're trying to navigate as well. You want to sit there and you know that, well, they're part of our pyramid. And what you want to do is that the Premier League will have money to spend. So you're dealing with Ipswich needing a striker, having already offered 20, doing that in August before the season started or early in the season, matching that with everything else. Would they do 20 again? How desperate is Ipswich? And then you get to the point where navigating all of these things, and I apologize for Rowdy because there's someone who's knocking on the door and I'm not answering the door, and so Rowdy's being a guardian, and I apologize for all the barking. The navigating of Ipswich and the desire to overpay, which is where we are right now. What's your trigger? What's your ceiling? And where are you going to go? Hang on. And I know why the guy's knocking on the door, because we have to have our fire extinguisher checked. So nothing like having to do this. So hang on just a second. I'm going to leave. See, now this is where I wish I had like hold music, because then I would put hold music on. So hang on just a second. I'm going to duck out of camera range. Okay. No, I wish I could have gone to a commercial forecard. We needed one at the top of the hour. Anyway. Okay. So here's all the things that you're balancing. Ipswich 20 on the board in August. 18-2 on the board. So what is Atlanta United's swing? Yeah, they could if they wanted to outspend Ipswich, but then you get Emilio into the idea of, okay, how much is 20? I mean, that really, I think that 18-2 is that's right there at the top. It's right there at the edge, because when you're sitting there, you better. I mean, if Latte Lot, if you're going to drop 25 on him, he better be the man. Capital T, capital M. He better be the man. And yes, Derek, the Rowdy man, is a very good boy. He's a very, very good guardian. Very, very good. So, all right. Sorry about that. So here's where we are. The desire of Ipswich to pay, we know. Back in August. The desire of Atlanta United to go to 18+2 in pounds, we know. That's not the only thing in play here. West Ham also is interested in Latte Lot. So you have West Ham, who is also now more interested because Nicholas Fulkrug, one of their strikers, silencio, por favor. One of their strikers is now out with a hamstring injury. Jared Bowen is out. Mikel Antonio is out. So now you have West Ham interested. You have Ipswich interested. You have Atlanta United interested. No, it doesn't sound good. No, Abby, it doesn't. It's all about posture and things, and it's long and involved, and I hate it. It's that time of year. So you have West Ham interested, and they need a striker because of all these injuries that are mounting up. Ipswich, who's interested. We know they're interested. We know they put 20 on the table previously. Atlanta United has now come to the table and said 18 plus 2. So you have all of that. West Ham has also been linked to Evan Ferguson at Brighton and Lille's Jonathan David. And so there's also now been the discussion involving Italy and teams in Serie A that are attached. So Serie A, so literally it's like Serie A, West Ham, Ipswich, Atlanta United. No, and that's the thing. West Ham can't sell in order to buy. And that's the other part. So, Latte Loth is contracted to Borough until 2027, Borough having the option of an additional 12 months. And so they don't have to move him if they don't want to. He's their leading scorer this year with 10 league goals. Borja Sainz and Josh Maja are ahead of him in the championship. So now you have all of these players and all these teams that are interested. Hang on. All right. Round 2. I think I have the rowdy man not guarding at the moment. So you have Italy, you have West Ham, you have Ipswich, you have Atlanta United, you have Latte Loth under contract until 26-27. So all of that. But then you have Borough, who is currently operating at a loss. Pre-tax annual loss, £12.4 million. And so now what you can do is one of two things. With Middlesbrough operating at a loss, you can go back to your owner, and your owner converted more than 9 figures to the left of the decimal place, $130 million. He converted loans into shares during the most recent accountancy period. Or you can sell players. So you have all of this stuff that's in play. All of this. All of it. Middlesbrough operating at a loss. Do you sell players, or do you have your owner continue to convert loss into shares? Italy, Ipswich, West Ham, Atlanta United. So that's where we are when it comes to Latte Loth. That to me sounds like it's an uphill battle. All of that sounds like it's an uphill battle. All of it. All of it sounds like it's an uphill battle. Let me know if I am barking up the wrong tree. And yes, I did say that on purpose because of everything that has been going on over the last 10 minutes with somebody over here. So, all of that stuff is in play involving Emmanuel Latte Loth. All of it. All the clubs, all the injuries, all the financials, all of that stuff. Latte Loth, to me, just on premise, seems like it is very, very tall. That is a tall order. Are you serious? Sorry, Rich sent something that is intriguing. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit this and see how much trouble I get into. Let me see if I can do this. And let me see if I can hit this and not completely and totally just send everything into chaos. No, it's not going to work. Okay. Anyway. All right. Breaking news from Jose Roberto Nunez. Thank you, Rich, by the way. Philadelphia Union are currently listed on FIFA's registration ban list. Welcome to hour number 2. According to FIFA, The list includes clubs temporarily prohibited from registering new players due to various infractions such as financial disputes or regulatory breaches, serving as an essential tool for member associations, confederations, clubs, players, and agents. The FIFA registration ban list helps ensure transparency and compliance within the sport, allowing stakeholders to stay informed about which clubs are ineligible to sign new players during the ban period. Union had been banned from registering players since December 4th, with the ban set to last for 3 registration periods. Notably, the Union are the only American club currently on the list. For context, in January 24, LAG faced a similar ban due to $4,500 in training compensation disputes, which was lifted once resolved. So, the Union have not responded to the request for comment to Jose Roberto Nunez. So, Emilio asking about Kyogo. Along those lines, Emilio wants to know, is Kyogo a no-go? Don't know. So, is Kyogo a no-go? Don't know. You're still looking at Kyogo. You're looking at Furuhashi. You're looking at Daisen Maeda. You're looking at Real Hatate. You're looking at Ida. I think, and this is me kind of extrapolating what Jared is looking for out of that roster. Basically, just bring all of Celtic to Atlanta United, and Jarrett would be happy. So, is Kyogo a no-go? Don't know. That's going to be something that has to continually be monitored, and it is one of those transactions that who else is interested? And once again, you're in this particular part of the window now where you're almost to the halfway point of the international window here in January. And now you're to the point to where, all right, so you're chasing after folks. Is Kyogo no-go? Don't know. I mean, until it's not a go, it is a go. And I don't mean to sound so simplistic about it, but until you have a club in 18 days' time sit there and say, you know what, we're happy with where we are, or someone else is coming with a larger paycheck and you're not going to match it. That's what these windows are all about. And there's 18 days left to determine whether or not Atlanta United will be bringing in an Odson Edward, an Emmanuel Latela, a Kyogo Furuhashi. So just keep an open mind. Just because and this is once again where I bring in all of the double negatives, just because you don't hear something doesn't mean that it's not happening. Sir, hush. I appreciate you guarding the house, but I think the guy left. I think we're okay. Hey, stop. So for a double negative, keep an eye on a double negative. Until it's not, it is. And I know that sounds incredibly nebulous, but the way things are in this window, and this is the other element of this. So Odson Edward right now is at Crystal Palace. I think the Odson Edward that you want is the Odson Edward from Celtic who was motivated. Like I said, when Jarrett comes in the next time, we'll have the Odson Edward discussion about his time at Celtic. So you want the motivated Odson Edward. The Odson Edward at Crystal Palace is not. So let me get the Odson Edward statistics here. So Edward currently is on loan at Leicester, and in 4 matches he has no goals. From 2021 to 2024 at Crystal Palace, Edward had 18 goals. Please hold. All right. So in 95 matches with Crystal Palace, 18 goals for Odson Edward. 4 currently on loan at Leicester, and apparently the leash for Odson Edward at Leicester is very, very short, and there is not interest waning, but the patience is waning with Odds-on Edouard right now at Leicester City. So Edouard at Celtic is, I think, the one that you were looking at. So on loan, plus time at Celtic, 116 matches, 66 goals. That's the Odds-on Edouard that you're looking for. But right now, since his time at Celtic in 2021, Crystal Palace, we know how Crystal Palace can be sometimes offensively challenged. Just happy to be there at the lunch table. 18 goals in 95 appearances, and then loaned out to Leicester City. And like I said, no goals in 4. No goals in 4 right now for the 24-25 season. Made his debut for the club as a sub in the draw against Everton on September 21st. So not making a whole lot of appearances with Leicester this season. Oh, I mean, well, and Alex, God bless you. The thing about Rowdy is, yeah, and Alex is saying give Rowdy a job, make him an intern. He's already an intern. He's the head of security. Have him watch the chat. This needs to feel useful. The thing about Rowdy is he's hyper protective. He is hyper protective of mommy first and foremost, and then his house. He hears a knock on the door, as you've heard over the last half hour. He ain't stopping. Hey, stop it, sir. Rowdy, you're good. The guy's not here. And you'd think that with a car that is not in the driveway, that folks would not knock on a door. But anyway, Rowdy, stop. So, Rowdy's very hyper protective. And especially in an environment where someone is knocking on a door that he doesn't know. So that's where we are. And I apologize because somebody's making all of the noise that he's making this morning over the last half hour while we're trying to get some work done. But Odds-on Edouard, you need the motivated Odds-on Edouard, not the one apparently that is sitting basically on the pine right now at Leicester City. And so that's where you are. Currently, Edouard's value is at 14 million euro. And traditional center forward, that's where he plays. That's it. That's where Odds-on Edouard plays. Highest market value was about a year and a half ago when he was at 20, but his current market value is at 14. When you ain't playing, and it is when you ain't playing and you ain't scoring, that's where you are with Odds-on Edouard. And so Odds-on Edouard, you have to get the motivated version of Odds-on Edouard. But the whole conversation about Emmanuel Latte-Lath, once again, it is dealing with multiple franchises, gauging interest, and making sure that that interest is maintained across the board. West Ham has injuries. Ipswich is in a relegation fight. And Middlesbrough wants to get promoted. That's the other thing that I need to check on really quickly. Where is Middlesbrough in this when it comes to the table and the EFL Championship? So right now, Middlesbrough is 5th in the table. They are in the playoff spots. So right now, they would be in the playoff, and they're in a fight to stay in the playoff because Middlesbrough right now is in a group from 5 to 11, separated by 5 points. Middlesbrough, West Brom, Blackburn Rovers, Bristol City, Watford, Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich. 5 to 11. So the desire has to be there as well for Middlesbrough to want to sell, knowing that they're in a promotion battle. So all of these things are in play, especially for Latte-Lath. So that's where we are involving Latte-Lath. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of mountain that would have to be climbed for Atlanta United for their 18+2 to be accepted. Middlesbrough would have to want to separate from their leading scorer in a promotion battle where they're hanging on right now. They are in the third of four promotion spots. They're in the promotion playoff. So West Ham interested, Ipswich interested, Atlanta United interested. Promotion battle. So that's all the moving parts involving Emmanuel Latte-Lath. And I'm hoping that within the barking of the rowdy man and the security force that we have here at OSG Gulf Coast, that it was understood what Atlanta United is fighting here involving the battle to get Emmanuel Latte-Lath in at 18+2. So, like I said, Middlesbrough, according to the Northern Echo, they have not even officially said that that's the deal. That's where things stand involving Latte-Lath. Middlesbrough has not officially, and Derek, that's the thing. You're part of a discussion. You're part of a discussion. The fact that you are part of a discussion means still that you're a player in the game. But just understand, and that's why I wanted to walk through this morning involving Emmanuel Latte-Lath, to give the context of, okay, you're hearing a name. Here's all of the moving parts. Atlanta United is a part of the discussion, but there's a lot else going on. So that's the whole shtick here. Teams in the Premier League who need strikers. A team who has the striker wants to hang on to him because they're in a promotion battle. That team is still dealing with a financial deficit. So how desperate is Middlesbrough in fixing that £12 million operating loss? Can their owner just continue to write more off? That's the whole financials are a part of this. So that's so all of these things. And like I said, that's why I wanted to bring the context to all of this morning involving Emmanuel Latte-Lath. Like I said, the Northern Echo did a great job laying out all of the different sections that are attached here. But just understand going in that, yes, there's 18 days left in this window, I think. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31. Okay, so 18 days left in this window. And you have all of these different elements in play involving teams and leagues and financials and debt and profit and sustainability. And and that's the thing, Emilio, that's Atlanta United isn't just locked into Latte-Lath and or Edouard. Those are the two that have been named by Tom Bogert. We don't know, and this is once again that I always like to try to remind everybody, we don't know what we don't know. We do know through reports, it is reported that they are chasing after Odsonne Edouard and Emmanuel Latte-Lath. So, sir, be nice. So that's where we are. But we don't know who else options B through F are, because Atlanta United traditionally does not negotiate publicly. Because what you do at that point is you put yourself behind the negotiating element of the team in question. So it's like, oh, okay. So Atlanta United's they're negotiating publicly for player X. Player X is, they're going to negotiate for him. And yeah, we'll pay, 15. You don't do that publicly. So rest assured, through all of these discussions, yes, it has been reported that they are chasing after these two dudes. Okay, so February 3rd. Thank you, Tom. So 24 days. So 24 days left in the Premier League window, if that's who you're chasing. European window, 3 days less, 2 days less. So just know, just be confident and assured that Atlanta United, while yes, these two names have been reported, that these aren't just the only two guys. Like I said, we've had the discussions about Furuhashi-san and possibly him being a part of it too. So, but that, contrary to, no, I'm not going to say it. So you have all of these names and options. Alex says, not sure Ipswich is the problem. If West Ham's in the ring and anywhere close on the price, I think they'd have the upper hand. Ipswich, the question with Ipswich is, how far are you willing to go? Ipswich is in a relegation fight. How far are they willing to go? How far are they willing to empty their pockets? They're interested. Kieran McKenna has said as much. They chased after him back in August. So West Ham, with the immediate injury crisis, Bowen, Antonio, Fulkrug, that one to me has the most urgency attached to it. Yes, Atlanta United's chasing after a 9. But if you look at it from the Premier League perspective, West Ham, Fulkrug, recent injury, Jared Bowen out, Michael Antonio out for the year. So that, to me, is where West Ham is coming from. I think West Ham and Ipswich probably will end up getting into a bidding war. I think West Ham probably will sit there and want to spend more money by the time we're finished talking about it. And I think it will end up being far more than 18 plus 2. I think West Ham and Ipswich are going to have a staring contest. What is it? How much does it mean to Ipswich in a survival fight? And what does it mean to West Ham to try to grab a striker, considering that the injuries they have for anybody who's been putting the ball in the back of the net? But I think the fact that Atlanta United is throwing 18 plus 2 out there, as it's being said in Northern Echo. Okay, so Atlanta United is part of these discussions worldwide. So, and Emilio, once again, you wonder how many strikers were courted last summer and failed. Guard said he was surprised at the difficulty last summer. So, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, you don't want to, navigate in the public sphere. Tom says you also need to know if he would be going to one of those Premier League clubs as a starter. If not, it could be more appealing to the player to come here and beat a man. Yes, that is another aspect of this. Do you want to be the man, or do you want to be a man? You take the D away. Alex, Ipswich looks to be going down again or very close. Not a leap from where he is today, but West Ham's a bigger club. No, but then that's the thing. Do you want to be a man at West Ham? Do you want to be probably close to the man at Ipswich? You and Liam Delap. With Atlanta, you'd be the 9. Do you want to leave England and come to America? All of these things in play. So it is a pitched battle of 3 dimensions here, involving Emmanuel Latela. All of these moving parts. And like I said, I wanted to take the time this morning and navigate all of these. What does the player want? Does the player want to be the man? Does he want to stay close to home? Does he want to be a man? Does he want to be the man? Does he want to, try Major League Soccer? Is the agent just trying to get him a better deal? Is the agent just trying to get a bigger payday? All of these things that we have to look at here. All of these things. And especially when it comes to Emmanuel Latela. Like I said, Odson Edward, So, I mean, it's all of these moving parts. All of these moving parts. But like I said, tip of the hat to the newspaper at the Northern Echo for, uh, for laying all of these things out. So reports A and B, other reports player C, D through F, not in the public sphere. So, like I said, I'm fairly certain that, all of these things are working their way through. So all. Out of Charlotte, it looks like Pep Biel is back, signed this morning, just before the top of the hour. So Pep Biel is back. Like I said, we mentioned the news that came out involving Jessica Charman, friend of the show. And so it looks like Miguel Almiron is not going to Charlotte. That's the way it looks right now. So Biel in, Miggy perhaps not. And let's see, what other pieces of news are floating around right now this morning? I'm trying to see if there's anything that I missed involving people, players, and things. At the moment, not at the moment. Okay. This is official. Areola to Seattle. That is now officially official, by the way. So it is. We've been discussing it with Nico. We'll discuss it with Nico again on Thursday. That Areola is officially official. Dallas gets $300,000 in GAM, a 2026 first-round draft pick, and are going to pay part of the salary on Areola. So Ferreira gone to Seattle. Areola now gone to Seattle. So just $300,000. Seriously? That's it? Seriously? First thing out of the blocks. Sending a first-round 2026 super draft pick as well as up to $300,000 in 2026 GAM if certain performance metrics are met. Only 3 years ago, FC Dallas traded what was then a record high of $2.3 million GAM to DC to acquire him. So officially official, Areola is now Seattle. Going to the news release in and of itself. So here's the news release involving Areola to Seattle. Absolutely, that's it. Natural first-round draft pick in the 26 MLS Super Draft and up to $300,000 in general allocation money. Media note. So following the training session today, Areola will be made available to the media. In addition, agreeing to a 3-year contract, club option for 2028. So that's all that Dallas got. That's all that Dallas gets in return. That's all that they're getting. That's all. That's all. That's it. That's it. That's all. So that's where we are. So Areola in the barn in Seattle finally. And RSL has added Kobe Henry, arriving on loan from Reims, 2025 season. 20-year-old Florida native youth international center back. So Kobe Henry is now on loan this season from Reims. And you got that this morning. So that's another part of what's going on. So Seattle makes a deal for Paul Areola. RSL brings in Kobe Henry on loan from Reims. And Atlanta United is still chasing after Latte Lath. I imagine that see, and this is something that we probably need to look at involving Celtic. And I apologize for the stream of consciousness here because everything kind of seems to drift its way back to Celtic. But it makes you wonder about Celtic as a dance partner. Because remember how difficult it was in dealing with the Yorgos Giacomakis deal, where it was Celtic, Urawa Red Diamonds, and Atlanta United, and all of these moving parts for Yorgos Giacomakis, where it ended up saying that the player was the one that ended up being the instigator of the deal, going, okay, I want to go play in Major League Soccer. I don't want to go play in the J League. So that's how close that was. Now, I guess the questions have to be asked if, in fact, and like I said, I'm doing this as a suppose, anticipating that Atlanta United is trying to figure out if they can get $15 million to Celtic for Furuhashi-san. What's the process here? What's going on? How difficult a dance partner is Celtic in general? Are they turning into a difficult dance partner across the board? Word like that gets out. Are they being a difficult dance partner again involving Atlanta United? Toronto also this morning. Toronto FC is going to get up to 250,000 in GAM for CF Montreal for the right of first refusal for forward Prince Owusu. So Toronto FC acquires 175,000 in 2025 and 2026 GAM. In exchange for the right of first refusal for forward Prince Owusu, Reds can get up to another 75 in GAM from Montreal if certain performance metrics are met. So you have that deal on the board this morning too. So it's interesting stuff across the board. Let's get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo. We'll go through all of the stuff, all of the international stuff. Tomorrow, obviously, we'll get into the matches of the weekend, Barca, Real Madrid, all of these things. FA Cup replays, we might get into that this morning too. Did you see, by the way, where Pep Guardiola, I don't know if you saw this or not, Pep Guardiola was getting, as always, at his house, folks always want to come up to your house. They want to get you to sign things, and Pep Guardiola apparently is sick and tired of seeing the same folks show up each and every time, asking to have them sign more and more stuff. And these were probably early 20s, folks in their early 20s. They had Guardiola Barcelona jerseys and things like that, and they wanted him to sign them. So he gave them all the riot act, and he's like, I'm not signing any more of these things for you. I'm not. You guys need to, it's like, don't you guys want better lives? And it's a great piece of video. And I mean, it was really interesting to see this happen where, he was sitting there and he basically was giving the riot act to these folks that keep coming up and circling up to his house to get autographs. And he's like, don't you guys have better lives? Okay, so new video appeared online showing Guardiola in the clip, said it was filmed over the summer. Guardiola warns, quote, "Don't come again. I won't tell you again. I know your faces. Go to school and prepare yourself, guys. You are young guys, so don't be here wasting time. Do you want to live your life doing this, honestly?" And then one of the men then replied, "No, I used to be a chef," leading to Guardiola adding, "Let's continue to do it. Prepare better. Effing hell, man. This isn't for all of the people. This is for you," meaning the autographs and the signings. "What are your dreams? Tell me, what is it? Where do you dream, my friend? Practice. Effing hell, practice." City boss signed the merchandise, but makes it clear he's not going to be doing it again for those particular autograph folks. City Extra revealed the autograph hunters waited for Guardiola in a car parking facility close to his apartment, preventing him from going to his car to drive to training. Apparently, Manchester United is the same way. about autograph seekers. And so Pep Guardiola was not happy with some folks when it came to what the deal is in signing autographs. He wants folks to have lives. Now, this was the other thing that was going on involving Manchester City. Kyle Walker, apparently, he is set to sign a 2.5-year deal with AC Milan to seal a move from Manchester City in the coming days. It was made public by Guardiola on the weekend that he thought Kyle Walker had played his last match for Manchester City. That apparently might be the case. Set to sign a 2.5-year deal with AC Milan to seal a move, according to our friends at The Telegraph. But he could go to Inter on a season-long loan. That's from the four-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Teams in the Saudi Pro League remain interested in signing Walker, but once again, Kyle Walker wants to stay in Europe. That's from Florian Plettenberg at Sky Germany. Napoli manager Antonio Conte wants Alejandro Garnacho to replace Kvichka Kvaratskhelia, who looks like he's moving to PSG. Uruguayan defender Ronald Araujo, who's been linked to Juve, wants to leave Barca as soon as possible, but Barca wants to keep him. Mats Hummels, who's 36, is in no rush to open negotiations over a contract extension at Roma, with his current deal due to run out in June. West Ham, once again, ready to bring in the new forward. This is from Fabrizio Romano. Ready to bring in a new forward after learning the full extent of the Fulkrug hamstring injury sustained in the loss at Aston Villa, set to be sidelined for up to 3 months, according to Plettenberg. Monaco have made a bid for Edson Alvarez at West Ham after an offer to take the Mexico international on loan was rejected. Evan Ferguson and Marcus Rashford have now both been linked to West Ham. Remember, part of the hook with Marcus Rashford is, once again, we're not paying the entire salary. West Ham's like, nope, not paying the whole thing. Atalanta want to complete the January signing of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's been linked to a move to Newcastle on a free. That's at the three-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Bayern have offered Alphonso Davies a new contract worth €25 million as Real Madrid bid to sign him on a free in the summer. Sunderland and Blackburn Rovers have joined the race to sign Ben Brereton Diaz at Southampton, and he's struggling for game time right now currently. The other four-letter paper. However, he prefers a loan move to Sheffield United or to see the rest of the season out with the Saints. Once again, four-letter paper. Leeds not looking to sell Wilfried Gnonto amid interest from Saudi Arabia. Burnley have renewed their interest in Plymouth Argyle forward Morgan Whitaker, having been able to secure a deal for him in the summer. Plymouth Argyle got the biggest win in the FA Cup on the weekend with their win over Brentford, 1-0. Hull closing in on a loan deal for lead striker Joe Gelhart, and it would be a straight loan, seeing him join the Tigers for the remainder of the season. Burton Albion, Morecambe, Harrogate among the clubs interested in signing Joe Gardner. Wickham set to sign Viborg midfielder Magnus Vestergaard in a new club record deal around £840,000. Crawley been linked with a move for MK Dons defender Jack Tucker. That's $1 in the jar for me because I said the team name that I don't like to say. He's only made 9 appearances for the League Two side this year, and Chesterfield favorites to sign Blackburn Rovers defender Kyle McFadzean as the 37-year-old is looking to move closer to home. So those are your gossip, rumors, and innuendos from the morning anyway, as things continue to roll. The Premier League confirmed a new date for the Merseyside Derby, final league match between the two sides hosted by Everton before they move stadia. It's going to be on February 12th. So there's that. Nuno remains relaxed ahead of the Liverpool clash. Remember, midweek matches because of FA Cup are on the board this week. So we'll get into those juice boxes on Tuesday and Wednesday. Vestergaard is in training. Max Aarons. Valencia completed the signing of Max Aarons from Bournemouth, signed on loan for the rest of the season. Valencia do have the option to make the move permanent at the end of the year, falling down the pecking order, unveiled to the media Thursday by his new club. And Woyo Koulibaly. Now, the discussion about Leicester trying to pick up other folks. Leicester linked with signing Parma defender Woyo Koulibaly. It looks like it's going to be about $3 million, and that's what they're looking at. That's the number that they're chasing after at the moment. So Leicester can afford 3. they can't necessarily afford something in the double digits when it comes to chasing after talent. So West Ham and Nuno and Nottingham Forest, they're having their press conferences. Graham Potter started the press conference giving an update on Fulkrug. Still early in the terms of full diagnosis, significant, and it'll be a number of weeks. Minor knock with Somerville. Palmieri's made good progress and trained. Mavropanos is available. Todibo remains sidelined. So that's what you're staring at when it comes to all of your notes in and around the Premier League. All right, so we go from there to from your news notes and anything that is available. Let's go to what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and see if there's anything going on. Remember, the Clausura is back in Liga MX, and so you have that activity started up and running this past weekend with double headers and such. So soccer on the tube, one FA Cup match today, and then you have other things that we can graciously promote. BNB and Espanyol's got the Super League at noon in Turkey. Konyaspor Fenerbahce. That's also BNB and Espanyol. You can get all the BNs, Nuestra Tele, CDO, For the Fans, Liga 1 Max, Liga 1 Max Pro, Teise, or Buddy Nino Torres at Gold TV at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. And you can get everything that's attached to all of those networks and be a complete and total sicko, and everything will be fine. So you can watch all the action there on the BNs and the BNs today. ESPN Deporte says La Liga at 3, Real Sociedad, Villarreal. Nacional and San Lorenzo is at 8 on Gold TV. I think odds are our buddy Nino Torres. I think he's calling that one. FA Cup, Millwall. Blank you on Millwall. Dagenham and Redbridge. That's at 2:30. And La Liga is also on the plus. Paramount Plus has Serie A Monza Fiorentina at 2:45. So that is your rundown of what to watch, where to watch it, and how to watch it. All right. So what did the Chicago Fire do, Tom? What did they do? What did they do? Did the Chicago Fire sign somebody again? Did they sign not so big Shaq? Sam Rogers from Lillestrøm. So Sam Rogers from Lillestrøm has now been signed from the Norwegian First Division via transfer. So under contract through the 26 season, options 27 and 28. Rogers joins 167 appearances across all comps, a native of Seattle, Washington. Rogers began his career in 2017 with Tacoma Defiance after going through Sounders Academy, 64 appearances with Defiance, Oklahoma City Energy, joined HamKam in Norway on loan in 21 before transferring to the club in 22. Played for Rosenborg, Lillestrøm, and Ålesund. Ålesund, 47 matches in the first division, 29 in the second division. Made his debut in the U.S. men's national team in a friendly, also earned 4 caps with the U-20s. So Sam Rogers comes home. Pride of Seattle, Washington, comes home from Lillestrøm SK. So a signing for Chicago Fire that is not $9 gazillion trying to get a striker and not having it work. So that is that's the news out of Chicago this morning. So Chicago signing folks. And that's the thing. The biggest news this morning so far, obviously, is the Areola deal is done. And it's for basically, like I said, it is a first-round super draft pick, $300,000 in GAM, and a new 3-year deal for Areola to sign. Oscar, and this is running down. We're going to run down the news and notes from folks like Tom Bogert and Ben Jacobs. Brazil international Oscar is open to continuing his career in Major League Soccer. Been offered to MLS clubs, and this was back in July. Signed with Sao Paulo, and he's not coming to Major League Soccer. Houston Dynamo finalizing a deal to sign Eric Duenas. Duenas came through LAFC. You'll remember him. And 48 apps with the club. So, and then we mentioned CF Montreal signing Prince Owusu. Lucho Acosta has yet to arrive for preseason this weekend with his teammates as expected. Cincinnati, according to Bogert, did not give Lucho Acosta permission to report late. He said in November he wanted to leave the club and return to Argentina. So keep an eye on Lucho Acosta. We mentioned the Kobe Henry deal. Signed the first pro deal with Orange County before joining Reims a couple of years ago. So he was making inroads in USL Championship. Goes to the French division. Now it's a purchase option and a loan deal with Reims. So you have that on the table as well. And once again, mentioning Sam Rogers. Update on Driussi. Better with light on the ceiling off. You don't the crown on the forehead. Maybe if I drifted back. Oh, no, that's worse. They'll come forward. Estudiantes. We mentioned that Driussi and River Plate were in a duel with each other, trying to figure out. So River Plate wanted to sign Driussi in the neighborhood of 9 or 10. And now it appears Estudiantes is going to meet the asking price of 10-ish for Driussi. River Plate was interested first. Estudiantes is now coming in. There's no agreement between Austin and River Plate on Driussi. So now will there be an agreement with Estudiantes and Driussi? So we'll see what happens there with that. So Driussi no-showed the mandatory medical before the move that was supposed to be to River Plate. And so now Estudiantes is interested in Driussi. And so now it is River Plate, Estudiantes, and Driussi. It is a three-way dance involving Austin. Austin, I'm sure, is just like, look, somebody come to the table with 10, we're not going to complain. Driussi wants to go. Make it 10, we'll be happy about it, and everything will be fine. So right now it's a match race, Estudiantes and River Plate trying to figure out what to do involving Driussi and all the other points that are attached and all the other clubs that are interested in what's going on with Driussi. So Driussi no-showed his medical. And now Estudiantes and River Plate are in a match race trying to figure out what's going on. We mentioned Valencia and Max Aarons. There's a £7.5 million buy option. Diego Leon is moving to Manchester United, a 4-year deal from Cerro Porteño, $8 million. Could be loaned back and linked up. We mentioned Gelhart undergoing a medical with a loan move ahead from Hull to Leeds. Leicester, we mentioned right back Koulibaly, also considered Kyle Walker-Peters, but $7 million versus $3 million for Leicester, who's having problems with PSR, profit and sustainability rules, navigating $3 million and having borrowed against future TV revenue in the past. Parma right back Woyo Koulibaly seems to be making the most sense. So we mentioned Milan chasing after Walker and Marcus Rashford. Anticipate a 3D later today. Drew Dickinson told me that there is a 3D that is on the board. So we'll see what happens with the 3D. Looks like Villa and Dortmund have agreed on a £22 million fee for Daniel Malen, according to Sky Sports Germany. Add-ons of at least another 2. Malen has agreed to personal terms. Permission to travel for his medical is expected today. So 22 plus 2 looks like it's the number for what we're seeing involving Daniel Malen. Also, Chelsea went more than $20 million plus to sell Renato Vega. Vega keen on Dortmund. Loan approach from Wolves. Wolves was like, hey, what about a loan? Chelsea's like, nah, not happening. So Barcelona won the Super Cup yesterday, beating Real Madrid 5-2. Wojciech Szczesny got sent off early in the second half. Lamal had a goal. Rafinha a brace, 19 on the year. Lewandowski and Balde also scored for that one. So that one was chaos. So a 10-man squad, and you end up getting the win. David Moyes, once again, signing a contract beyond the end of the season. So he's going to be leading Everton into their new barn, into the Bramley Moore Dock. So initially there was talk about it being only a short-term deal. Then they thought, meaning Friedkin and Moyes, well, okay, let's make it a longer-term deal and have some kind of a bridge with a philosophy and players going into Bramley Moore Dock. And so Moyes' contract is going to sign beyond the end of the season. So he's going to lead the club Looks like it's going to be a 2.5-year deal now for Moyes, and he will be part of the shtick. And that is how that's going to. So that's how that's going to play. Also on the board this morning, Kenny Bundy, Dynamo Tube, joining Ben Olsen's staff as an assistant coach. That's coming out of Houston this morning. There were some other couple of knick-knacky things that I wanted to get into this morning. Abby, to your point, I'm going to go poor with all the stuff that's being bought recently. Abby says she loves that the Galaxy are doing collections for fire victims at the stadium. Fanatics is going to cause me to go poor, but it's for a good cause. All of the teams in the LA area and the LA Golf Club, they did the LA Strong shirts, and the Chargers and the Rams. I'm not a Rams fan. I'm a Chargers guy. But the LA Strong T-shirts that Fanatics put out, bought a couple of those, and the LAFD shirts that the Chargers and the Rams put out, bought some of those, and the proceeds going to help fire victims and help out LAFD and help out with necessary supplies and things like that. So that's part of what's going on. Don't know if you saw this. Don't know how much of the FA Cup you watched on the weekend, but it got a good laugh with Tamworth and Spurs. Tamworth and Spurs, non-league Tamworth. They were even with Spurs, goalless for 90 minutes. Eventually, they'd lose 3-0. And when going straight to penalties might have increased the chances. So now the FA is debating, considering scrapping extra time. First, they consider scrapping the reverse fixture, or the redo, the replays. So they first off, it's replays. They're not doing replays anymore. They started that this season. So initially, if a game was tied after 90 minutes, you'd have a replay at the other places, the other team's barn. They make a great amount of money because of the gate. It goes to the larger stadium. That's not happening anymore in the FA Cup as of this year. So now they're considering scrapping extra time and going straight to penalties. Basically, they're just trimming the games from 2 matches if it's tied after 90 minutes to 1 match and then an extra 30, then PKs. Now they're thinking that after this past weekend, maybe what we should do, in addition to having VAR, that's another matter entirely, just ask Harry Maguire, is that you should go to just scrapping extra time and just go straight to penalties. Because of the romance that's attached to the idea of Tamworth knocking off Spurs in the FA Cup. Martin Ziegler at the Times, the FA is going to review whether to scrap extra time in FA Cup matches at the end of the season, not considering bringing back replays. There's a view, according to Ziegler, that going straight to penalties after 90 minutes gives minnows a better chance of causing an upset because smaller clubs' players often run out of extra steam in extra time. Abby, have fun with the contractors, stay dry. And that's what happened on Sunday. Once again, Tamworth goalless with Spurs after 90 minutes. Then they play the extra 30, lose 3-0. The EFL scrapped extra time in the Gummy Bear Cup 6 years ago for all rounds except the final. FA will consult clubs and other figures in the game at the end of the first season competitions without replays. Senior FA sources said that fixture congestion now with the extra European matches meant it would be impossible to reintroduce replays, and it's a struggle to organize the calendar without them. So you had Tamworth, who got the home game to begin with. So you knew they were going to get sold out. They weren't going to get the replay. So after 90 minutes, you're not getting a replay. You don't go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. You don't get the $9 gazillion because of the replay in the bigger barn. And so, now 3 other non-league sides lost out to EFL opposition in extra time. Harborough Town, Kettering Town, and Oldham Athletic. Dagenham and Redbridge is playing Millwall today. Big decision for this season was no replays, but there will be a review at the end to see what should happen about extra time. There's a view that it would mean more chances for giant killing if there was no extra time. So keep an eye on that one going forward. So that one was interesting in and of itself to see where they're going to go in the steps and the stages now with the FA Cup going forward. Let's see what else was there. In the FA Cup, Crystal Palace was told to leave Trevor Chalobah out as Chelsea eyed a recall. Crystal Palace beat Stockport 1-0, but Chalobah missed the FA Cup win, was instructed not to be played over a contractual issue amid talk of return to the parent club. And Oliver Glasner said as much, that he was unavailable because Chelsea was reportedly considering whether to trigger the option to recall him this month from the loan following injuries to Fofana and Badiashile. So Glasner had stated pre-match that Chalobah would start, but then he was informed Saturday night that Trevor Chalobah could not play. So that's where that was. So it's like, yeah, we want to play him. Yeah, we want to play him. We want to play him, but then all of a sudden you can't. So not happening. Other quick things. Celtic joined the chase for Villa attacker Louis Barry after he was recalled from his loan from Stockport County. Let's see. What else is going on here? So according to Herman Garcia Grova, it looks like the offer for Driussi is up to $11.5 million. $11.5 million now apparently is the number. 10.5 plus $1 million in bonus for 100% of the pass, and this is Foster Gillette working with Studiantes, trying to get Driussi instead of River. So that's the number right now, $11.5 million, and it looks like it's for the whole thing. Keep an eye on Foster Gillette. Keep an eye on what he's doing with everything going on. But Estudiantes, it looks like $11.5 million for Driussi heading to from Austin, heading to Estudiantes. That's the number. It's not official yet. Jay Reid undergoes successful surgery for all caps as a part of their defense corps. Dortmund in direct talks with Chelsea to sign Carney Chukwuemeka on loan, in addition to chasing Renato Vega. Also, let's see what else is on the board. Yeah, so Valencia got confirmed the $7.5 million buy option. That's there on the board. Touring the papers before we get out of here. Let's see. Hamas to Leon, that also happened on the weekend. So keep an eye on that. The deal with Chicho Arango in San Jose. We got to talk about that tomorrow. That's big. So Chicho Arango and Emi Ochoa in San Jose. Emi Ochoa was supposed to be heading to Liga MX, but the deal apparently is not finalized, so he's back in San Jose. The Chicho Arango deal, once again, Chicho Arango to San Jose. There's things we got to talk about involving that. Marta has signed with Orlando. Joao Paulo has re-signed with Seattle. And no, that was not what I hit. So we've got those deals on the board as well. So Marta decides she's coming back for yet another year. Where's my football notes? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Stupidity down here. We have to reset the clock. All right. So here's the deal. We're going to finish with stupidity down here, and I'm going to thank you once again for your forbearance while we had the number one guardian, who is, I think he's all barked out, frankly. PA Media. Arsenal are investigating social media posts sent to Kai Havertz's wife amid the club's third-round defeat by Manchester United. Havertz missed a penalty in Arsenal's shootout defeat at the Emirates before his wife, who is expecting her first child with the German international, reposted messages she'd received on Instagram, describing one as shocking, and urged her 540,000 followers to be more respectful. Signify, the data technology company, is understood to have been tasked by Arsenal with determining the identity of the abusers. Investigation could then enable the club to report the perpetrators to the police, and the accounts will be flagged up to Instagram PA Media understands Instagram has removed the abusive content for violating its policies. So, stupidity down here, once again, rears its ugly head. Just because you think you can say something on social media doesn't mean you can say something on social media. But you went ahead and said it anyway because you're an idiot. So you say things to a player's wife who is with child. Yeah. So you think that's a smart thing to do. You think that that's just brilliant. You're mad. You're mad, and so of course I'm going to say something to a player, and I'm going to be mad. Quick update on Miguel Almiron from Luke Edwards, by the way. Miguel Almiron edging closer to an exit this month. Clubs in the U.S., Brazil, and Europe making contact over the winger. Several conversations this month attempting to agree to a transfer. A fee has not yet been finalized with anyone. Talks are set to continue. Newcastle have been looking for as much as £12 million for the Paraguayan international, but it is not thought, this is Luke Edwards now, but it is not thought anyone is willing to pay that fee for the 30-year-old. The player's wage demands have also been a sticking point in negotiations. That's likely to mean a compromise will need to be reached, but there's growing confidence internally Almiron will leave before the deadline. Sale of Almiron will potentially give Newcastle more room for maneuver in their own attempts to strengthen the squad this month, although even if he does depart, it is not certain that they will do any incoming business. Newcastle are not going to be in breach of the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules for this accounting period, but they need to sell someone if they're going to have the headroom needed to buy anyone before June 30 accountancy deadline. So, and by the way, the Telegraph apparently added an A to Atlanta. The MLS side Atalanta, January 2019. So, tentative interest shown in Sean Longstaff. Sale would definitely represent a profit, but right now, Miguel Almiron still being chased. And Harry Maguire apparently calls Kai Harvard said cheating S-house after diving to win a penalty. So that's where we are. NYCFC has re-signed Maxi Morales through 2025. And so that is on the board as well. So a bunch of different signings. But tomorrow, let's get into the Chicho Arango signing and what's going on in San Jose and Emi Ochoa and what's going on, because I think we got everything on the board. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on Latela, Adsan Edward, and Furuhashi-san, and anybody else that's on the board. But we got through all the signings this morning. And once again, I thank all of you because of the guard dog of guard dogs being incredibly loud this morning. So, and he's all barked out and he's sleeping. So I'll give you an update tomorrow on the boss and her travel, whether she drove back to Atlanta or if she drove back here, and we'll let you know what's going on with everything here. So Philly's in trouble with FIFA. Atlanta United's chasing people. Teams are chasing everybody, but that's what the beauty of January is. Once again, getting you ready for what's going on with Atlanta United, Chattanooga, Birmingham, IMG Academy, FC Dallas, all points in between. Thanks to Abe Gordon for dropping by this morning, as always. Thanks to all of you folks for coming by as well. Back at it again, 9:05 tomorrow morning here from the beach, where I'm in the white room. We're no longer dealing in pastels. Stay dry, stay safe, play it safe. Since it's the end of the show, that means I get to do this. We'll see you.